What's happening, everyone? TomGorian here. Welcome to episode number 8 of the F124 Alpine to Glory. In this episode of the Alpine to Glory, we are returning to home ground. It's the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. If you haven't checked out the previous video or the previous videos of the playlist, then make sure you do so. Check out the playlist and also check out the previous video as well at Spain. Didn't really have a good performance at Spain, but we were competitive with both cars. And we come to Silverstone today looking to prove a point, trying to score at home and pretty much try to extend our gap towards the rear end of the field. As you can see, there's the specialty goals, the R&D. As you can see, we've got 3 R&D parts coming in the summer. We've got a couple for July. We've got a major upgrade there for the chassis and 2 minor powertrain upgrades for the fuel and also the ERS. Unfortunately, for the timeline, nothing is there as far as upgrades or anything else is concerned. So this is going to be a quick little debrief before the race weekend. Nothing's really happened, so there's no point wasting our time. We're back home for the British Grand Prix. Let's get straight into the race weekend.
Welcome along, everybody, to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
So here we go, qualifying for the British Grand Prix. Practice was mostly wet for both practice 1 and 2, and we only really got dry running in the third practice session. I did around about 12 or 13 laps doing the race strategy and also just getting my way around the track with no line. Of course, this track has been updated for F124. It's not really changed as far as the corners are concerned. It's just mostly the curbs and how effective the curbs are when it comes to the circuit. However, first lap we do puts us in P12 at the moment, so wasn't really a good lap. Pretty much I think we lost time in Sector 3. However, this is the lap that matters, the final lap in Q1 that will determine where we start for the British Grand Prix. If we can get anywhere between, I'd say, 11th and 8th, or maybe even in the top 7, that would be a massive, success. However, we need to nail this lap. We need to pretty much make, I'd say, anywhere between 4 to 7 attempts if we want to try and get into the top 7, as we go a little bit wide in towards Luffield and then in towards Brooklands. Actually, no, Brooklands, then Luffield. I still can't get my Silverstone corner names correctly as we enter the old start-finish straight, and we are nearly a 10th down. So it hasn't really been a good lap. 10 at the 50-meter board for Copse Corner, and now you enter Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel 8th gear, back down to 7th gear, downshift into 6th, and then 5th and 4th for extra rotation. 5th gear again on the power, and as you can see, hasn't really been a worldly of a lap. We've pretty much been gaining, a 10th simply because we're using overtake. 10 in towards Stowe at the 50-meter board. We didn't hit the apex quite well. Go a little bit wide, and it hasn't really been a good lap. Brake at the 100-meter board, but the car just doesn't want to turn in for the fail chicane as we enter the final corner. Get a decent traction across the line. 3.5 attempts nearly. Across the line we go at Silverstone, and it's going to be P11 for the British Grand Prix. And that lap, it didn't feel good. Yeah, it wasn't one of those laps where I was proud of. To be honest, there was a lot of mistakes, especially at Vale. And as you can see, 7 attempts away from Lando Norris. Wow, Lando, Hamilton and Russell. It's a British 1, 2 and 3 at Silverstone. Wow, but I think Hamilton has a penalty. So it's Lando first, Russell in second, and Verstappen in P3 for the British Grand Prix. Let's do this.
You join us in the United Kingdom today, or Great Britain as it's alternatively known. Well, it's certainly a great day today as we welcome you to one of the crown jewels of British sport, a track of speed, history and drama. It's Silverstone. It's the British Grand Prix. The 3.6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Zhou, Thomas, Tsunoda, Hamilton, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Albon, Magnussen, Gasly, Sargent, Bottas, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
The scenes, if Lando gets pole in the real-life Grand Prix this weekend, after the drama of what happened in the real-life Austrian Grand Prix, literally yesterday with him and Max Verstappen. However, welcome to the grid. Here at Silverstone, for the British Grand Prix, we're in 10th place, believe it or not, because Lewis Hamilton took a penalty. I think it was a engine penalty. So we are starting in the top 10. Strategy, softs to hards. We could have done the mediums to softs. Mediums to softs. But we're going to go soft to medium for this race. Tyre wear isn't really that bad as what I thought it usually would be for Silverstone. But yeah, I don't know if it's because we're running a harder compound or whatever. However, let's score some points.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres. Ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
There's always a sense of extra pressure and weight of expectation on your shoulders when you're racing at home. Unlike if you're racing at a team's home race in France or Germany or Austria, racing at your home country brings a different type of pressure, especially with how popular Formula 1 is at Silverstone, and considering that Lando Norris is on pole position today. However, for us, a top 10 must be the goal. Anything else will not do. If we finish in the points today, that is a success in itself as we get ready for the British Grand Prix. And away we go for Silverstone, round number 8 of the Alpine to glory. It's a decent start by us. Zhou Guanyu doesn't get a good start. Perez and Alonso go side by side. Everyone goes really slow in towards turn 1. However, we do overtake Zhou Guanyu in towards turn 1, and now, as you can see, in towards turn 3. We can't really, we're boxed in almost. We nearly used the back end out of 3 in towards turn 4. Zhou Guanyu gets us back out of 4 as we go in towards the Wellington Straight, or Wellington or Hanger. I don't really know. As we enter Luffield and now also Brooklands. Perez on the inside of Fernando Alonso. Perez gets 7th place from Alonso in the British Grand Prix, but we've got a decent start for us, and the aim for this first quarter of the race is not really to attack. Well, how ironic, I say that, not attack, but as soon as I say that, we're already attacking Fernando Alonso as we exit turn number 4 in this race. So obviously the AI They're running, you know, way lower wings than us, so we won't be as effective on the straights compared to what we will be. However, Stroll is falling back, so what we're going to do, we're going to overtake Lance Stroll in towards turn 3, and there is the move. Lance Stroll gets his pants pulled down in towards turn 3, and we are up now in towards 8th position. I think Lance Stroll has some damage. I don't know if he's got front wing damage or if he's just got some car damage or emotional damage, but Lance Stroll clearly is in the mud. On to lap 7, and as you can see, Carlos Sainz is behind us in the Ferrari. We're 2.5 seconds down on the lead pack of Alonso, Piastri, and then I think that's Perez as well, and then there's a train behind as Verstappen takes the lead in towards Stowe Corner, and meanwhile, Carlos Sainz overtakes us on the Wellington Straight, and that is P9 for us. However, we're not really bothered about Carlos Sainz. What we want to do is we want to stick with Carlos Sainz to the point where he gives us DRS, because DRS is so important around here. And as you can see, we've already gained 2 temps on Lance Stroll, and yes, he might be suffering with front wing damage. However, the one thing that we want is for Lance Stroll to carry us into this race. However, that's not what we wanted him to do. He locks off in towards the Vale chicane, and we get P8 from him. And now we have to try and somehow gain 3.2 seconds on Fernando Alonso without DRS, and that's not going to work. So, look, we don't want to be fighting Carlos Sainz. You know, that Ferrari is way quicker than us. Clearly, we are not in the same race as the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. However, what we want to do is we want to try and just have us drag him along. However, lap 13, well, on the end of lap 12, on the beginning of 13, we're going to overtake Carlos Sainz in towards Stowe Corner, again for P8. And what we want to do is we want to, you know, really extend the gap between me, Sainz, and Stroll and Hamilton. That's who we're racing with. If we want to score points in today's race, that's what we have to do, is we come in for our one only stop from the soft tyres to the hards. Medium tyres. We're going to go on to the medium tyres for this race, and that will take us to the end as long as there's no safety cars. As you can see, we have been held by Bottas and Albon and Tsunoda. We've been held as well by Bottas as well. Alonso, I think Alonso's ahead of us as well. Norris has came in as well, and Hamilton is right on our ass now. So that's what we didn't need. We didn't need that hold up of at least a second or a second and a half, because now we've lost potentially maybe track position to Carlos Sainz. And as you can see, trying to do the undercut on lap 14. There's Carlos Sainz. We've lost a second to Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. However, he's on hards. That's a very interesting strategy. That's something that Ferrari would definitely do. With 11 laps to go on the hard tyres. And clearly, it's not working out for him, because the hard tyre, we've got the pace advantage on him. And simply, now we are in no man's land. We can't use Carlos Sainz for the DRS because he's on hards and he's slower than Piastri in front of him. And now we've got Lewis Hamilton all over us. So the ideal scenario is for me to get past Carlos, and then if Carlos tries to re-overtake me in towards Copse or Stowe or even Brooklands or Luffield, force him out wide so Hamilton can overtake Carlos Sainz. Then Hamilton overtakes me, and in that way Hamilton can pull me along in towards DRS, and in that way we can catch the train of Alonso and Perez and Piastri. Speaking of Alonso, Alonso is out of the British Grand Prix. A Mercedes failure on the Aston Martin, and that's disastrous for Fernando Alonso. He was running in P7, and that is an engine failure for the double world champion. Mate, Alonso not really having a good season so far, and his situation has just went from bad to worse, as Aston Martin, it doesn't look like Aston Martin will score any points in the British Grand Prix. However, now we've overtaken Carlos Sainz. Now our focus simply becomes trying to get Hamilton to overtake Carlos Sainz, and then eventually, if we have enough time, Hamilton can overtake us, and then Hamilton can drag us along. But as you can see, the gap between us and Oscar Piastri, 6.3 seconds with 6 laps to go. I don't think it's going to be realistic to try and close that gap, and as you can see, once again, gap is now 7.7 seconds, and as you can see, Carlos trying to get past us around the outside in towards Stowe. I'm going to force him out wide, just like how Verstappen did a couple of years ago, and Hamilton doesn't really get by. However, 2 sectors later, Hamilton is in the DRS of Carlos Sainz. Sainz has dropped out of our DRS, and Hamilton overtakes the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz and moves in towards 8th place. So, you know, it's a bit frustrating because I wish he would have done that. I wish he would have done that, you know, 5-10 laps ago, you know, when we were still in the fight. However, as you can see, Piastri has some issues. I don't know what's going on with Piastri. Maybe he has a DRS failure, or maybe his tyres have gone off, or he has floor damage or whatever, but the gap is now 5.2 seconds as Pierre Gasly's out. Oh no, that's disastrous. He was on the verge of maybe scoring 10th place if he was lucky. He's not going to score any points, unfortunately, for us, as Max Verstappen wins the British Grand Prix. Just like how he did in last year's race. It's not Lando Norris or George Russell who wins, it's Verstappen in third who wins. However, for us, we've delivered at our home race. It's P7 at the British Grand Prix.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
A great team victory today, Crofty. That's the important bit here. On home soil, the drivers delivered, the team delivered as well, and to do that in front of their home support really means a lot to them.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So there it is, Max Verstappen takes victory here at Silverstone, followed by Charles Leclerc in second place. Wow, where the hell did Charles Leclerc come from? I did not see him or expect him to be in the top 3. Where's Lando Norris? What happened with Lando? Wow, so Verstappen first, Charles Leclerc second, George Russell, who started second, he finishes in P3. And the curse continues as far as the British driver losing the British Grand Prix. Lando came home in P4, wow, 5.4 seconds behind Max Verstappen. So, not really a good day for Mercedes or McLaren. Perez finishes 5th, Piastri with the fast lap of the race. And as you can see, our lap times, slightly slower than the race leaders, obviously from Leclerc down. They did 28s, Norris did 29 flat, Piastri 29 flat, we did a 29.2. And our pace was pretty much the similar pace as of Hamilton, and slightly quicker than Stroll and also Carlos Sainz as well. So I'll take that for my first race at Silverstone with no line. A 7th place on 105 difficulty. That is quite incredible. And as you can see, we are getting into nearly 80 ratings. So we've nearly hit the 8-0 already in the Alpine to Glory. And as you can see, level 3 on the specialist goals. There's the manufacturing one. We are level 1 on the wind tunnel engineer, and we are level 1 on the material fabrication planner. So we are progressing very well with 7 races to go of the Alpine to Glory. But that is that for episode number 8 of the F124 Alpine to Glory. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more F124 content, as we near the end of Season 1. We have an ERS failure to round out the video. But that is that. The next video will be the Spa Grand Prix at the updated Belgium circuit at Spa. I'm looking forward to racing around that circuit, and yeah, it should be a banger. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave like, share, comment and subscribe for more F124 content, and I'll see you all in the next video in a bit.